Assalamu alaikum. Hopefully this audio will come out okay, but let's give it a shot. So I just recently published a video on the gift of dying. How dying, or death I should say, is really a gift for the living. And because of course, our culture, or let's say modern contemporary culture, tends to view death as something to be evaded and avoided at all costs. We live in a world where death is not remembered, where it's pushed to the side, and people generally just don't want to think about death because of the fear associated with death and dying. And what is the source of this fear? It's attachment to the material world, it's attachment to the body, it's attachment even to the mind, and the lack of realization that in reality we are not the body nor the mind, nor let alone any of the things that we possess and that we tend to identify with and that seem to define us while we're on the physical plane. And this is of course why spirituality helps to free us from the fear of death and to liberate us, to liberate our souls from living in fear and really becoming ultimately true free creatures, free human beings. So I just wanted to do a quick follow-up on this because there's such a tendency to look at death and look at the aging process as something negative. It's not uncommon to hear people complaining about how as they get older, they increasingly have more aches and pains, less flexibility, less ability to do or live the way that they used to live. And this too is a gift. It's actually an incredible thing. So, as you get older, right, especially after you hit 40 and you start to push beyond, and 40 kind of is the peak. 40 is the age in which we really hit our peak, typically, especially as men. As you go beyond 40, the aging process really starts to kick in. And you begin to feel that you can't quite get away with eating the same things or the same way you used to eat by doing or not doing the same things that you used to do or not do. And it becomes increasingly necessary to be very conscious and intentional in the way we live, in our choices. So basically, as we get older, we become increasingly, or it becomes increasingly required of us to become responsible as human beings, to make conscious choices, to live intentionally, to live with awareness and with discipline. And this is a gift because it forces us, it helps us, it requires us to mature as human beings. And so much of spirituality is about maturing. It's about becoming mature as human beings. And maturation is equivalent to, it's connected to responsibility. And so as we get older, we actually have to struggle and fight harder to maintain the same level of health, the same level of fitness, and the same level of ease, not just physically, but in all areas of our lives. You actually have to struggle much harder as you get older to stay healthy, to stay strong, to stay fit. And this benefits us not just physically, but also spiritually. Everything in the physical world is connected and is a reflection of everything in the spiritual world. So when we seek to cultivate strength physically, when we develop strength physically, we're actually also developing strength spiritually, inwardly, not just emotionally and spiritually, but also even psychologically. And so in many ways, as you get older, as you age, life requires us to consciously seek to cultivate greater and greater levels of strength, health, and fitness, and wellness. And again, not just physically, but even mentally, psychologically, emotionally. As you go through life, you acquire more challenges, more difficulties, more hardships, you experience more traumas, you experience more failures. And increasingly as we get older, it becomes incumbent upon us to consciously seek to continually heal and perfect and purify ourselves, and to live in such a way that is both healthy and in alignment with divine will. It actually forces us, as we get older and as we age, to correct our relationship and even our concept of God, to heal our relationship with our Creator and thus even with ourselves. So going back to one of my favorite films, Interstellar, and if you guys have been following my work, you know that I bring this up quite a bit because there's actually just so much divinely guided and inspired wisdom in this film, in this story. And so in this poem that is echoed throughout the film, this poem that begins or ends or throughout the poem in which it is said, "Do not go gently into that good night. Fight against the dying of the light. Rage against the dying of the light." What does that mean? One aspect of it is, as I have come to understand it, embrace life, embrace death, but fight against decay. Fight against the diminishing of ourselves while at the same time embracing it. It's a subtle path, and this is of course the straight path, Sirat al-Mustaqim. It's this perfect and subtle path of balance between two extremes, and this is the way. This is the way of the Messenger of Allah. This is the path of spirituality. It's a path of surrender, but at the same time not giving up. It's a path of surrendering, but at the same time struggling. And so I'll keep this quite brief, just a short little clips, short little video, just to remind myself and you guys, embrace life, embrace death, embrace the whole process, and for us to seek to use it for what it is intended, for growth, for maturation, for increasing choice, consciousness, responsibility, and awareness, for increasing discipline, and even for increasing strength. So let me know what you guys think actually in the comments below this video. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. And if this brings up specific questions to help continue to clarify this point, this idea, to continue to increase in our ability to create discernment and to better understand, because so much of this and so much of what I try to do really is answer the question, how are we to live? How should we live? How should we approach life? And that also includes how should we approach death? And at the top of all of this, of course, is spirituality, it's faith, it's religion. How to best understand faith, religion, and spirituality in a way that serves us both in this life and in the next. May Allah Almighty strengthen and support you and myself. And inshallah ta'ala, be in touch. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.